Hello everyone, this is Mohammed Al Mushnif, the registrar of the Canadian University of Dubai, and trading stock goes live now.
2 minutes to go until the close. The 2-minute warning, I think that's what they call it here. Here on Wall Street, the tail of the tape is expected to be kind of a mixed bag. It does appear as if the small caps Russell 2000 will fall just a few points short of reaching yet another all-time high. Investors kind of low volume across the tape today. Everyone's very much in wait-and-see mode. And of course, what are we waiting to see? It is Fed Day Eve, one and all. We get a decision on short-term interest rates. We get a dot plot projection. We get a press conference from Jerome Powell. This is our Super Bowl if you're a Wall Street nerd like me. That and much more sets the stage for today's show. And speaking of the show, welcome to it. You're watching it right now. This is Taking Stock. I'm your host, JD Durkin. Mere moments away from the ringing of the iconic closing bell here on the trading floor of the New York Stock Exchange. We got the team from Atlantic Union Bank Shares, that is ticker symbol AUB, set to do the honors here in just a bit. Energy, utilities, and discretionary, those are your strongest performing sectors in the S&P today, and your laggards include healthcare, industrials, and real estate. A bit of tail of the tape, kind of a mixed picture for a low volume Tuesday ahead of Fed Day. Yields are higher again. That's putting downward pressure on some of those key home builder names as we're trying to get a sense on the general housing market. JOLTS data we got earlier today that shows voluntary quits rate reaching a 5-year low, gives us a good proxy for overall employee confidence. We'll pick up the ongoing scorecard after the bell, but for now, Atlantic Union Bank Shares here at the New York Stock Exchange to do the honors. Always got to wait for the gavel. It's the final tail of the tape on this Fed Day Eve. It does look like we'll be in mixed territory. The S&P 500 will finish down about 0.09%. The Dow down 0.3. The NYSE Composite Index down 0.2. And the small caps holding on to gains. It'll finish right about 25.26, about 5 points shy or so from its previous all-time high close, which was last Thursday. Oil benchmarks down on the day for the second consecutive session. Crypto majors are up with Bitcoin reclaiming the 94 level. We'll talk a lot more about the Bitcoin and other crypto majors in just a bit. But for now, one of my favorite top of show guests, say hello to the great Jose Torres, senior economist at Interactive Brokers. My man, thanks for being here as always.
Always a pleasure, JD. Fed Day tomorrow, getting the speculative energies back. You just said Bitcoin above 94,000. Russell 2000, new record for the small caps. That basket is going to benefit disproportionately from monetary policy loosening. 93% odds of a Fed rate cut tomorrow. 2 to 4 dissenters according to our prediction market.
Yeah.
As far as Chair Powell, he has after tomorrow, January, March, and April, and then in May, presumably there'll be a new Fed chair. Our prediction market around 80%. It'll be Kevin Hassett, National Economic Council Director. He came out today in favor of a 50 basis point reduction tomorrow.
50 basis point cut. But obviously there's different reasons why the Fed could cut. It's either because on the one hand you got control of inflation, but on the other hand there's also not so good reasons that you cut interest rates. Deterioration in labor market conditions. What are you looking for as we hear from the FOMC this time tomorrow?
Well, JD, first let me talk to you about the labor market data that came in today.
Yeah.
ADP numbers, we got a reversal in the new weekly indicators, which are terrific to look at. JOLTS, we got September and October. Huge beats, seeing a comeback in labor demand. Small business optimism, also beat to the upside, driven by stronger sales expectations, as well as plans to add hiring. As far as what I'm going to wait to hear from for the Fed, the most important thing is going to be how many rate cuts the committee envisions into next year and what's the level of disagreement on the committee, because things can get quite heated. We can see in 2026, mid of next year, we can see a Fed that we haven't seen in a long time. We're going to have constant hostility, meeting after meeting, because the president is going to be more involved in the monetary policy decisions.
Yeah, easy to see why so many outside observers say the Fed is a much more political monetary policy body it is today than maybe it's been in years past. Talk to me a bit more about the dot plot, the summary of economic projections. We only get them 4 times a year, but to your point, even if the ultimate truth does not always align with what the dot plot actually is, it still gives us a pretty good roadmap as we finish 2025 for what's on their horizon for the next year.
Yeah, I think that 2 cuts on the dot plot next year, I think that'll certainly pave the way for a Santa Claus rally into year end. You know, one cut, we'll have to wait and see what the commentary is like and what the general mood is. And then zero cuts, you know, that's a really low chance. But if zero cuts, you know, that'll reflect some caution on behalf of Wall Street and investors or refrain from wanting to make any big, bold bets like they did today and yesterday. By the way, another reason why interest rates are catching a lift, not just the strong economic data we saw, but also you have central banks all around the world. Japan is hiking. Australia, their next move is to the upside. ECB, it looks like their next move is to the upside. Bank of Canada has a decision tomorrow. They are looking like they're going to hold for a long period of time. So the Fed is increasingly on its own in terms of a central bank that's cutting at this juncture.
Yeah, you mentioned Santa Claus rally historically. That's the last 5 trading days of one calendar year, plus the first 2 trading days of the next calendar year. That for us here on Wall Street this year aligns for a start on Christmas Eve, December 24th. We'll see if Santa comes to town here. Before I let you go, what's been top of mind for earnings? We still got a handful of key names reporting today and tomorrow.
Absolutely. We have some dovish developments tomorrow on Fed Day. Pair that with Adobe, Oracle, and Broadcom. Strong developments on the AI front in terms of expected returns as well as strong capital expenditure plans, and that can absolutely pave the way to 7,000 on the S&P 500 by year end. And I'm expecting the Russell 2000. It's been a long time. It's flat for roughly 4 years. I'm expecting with strong fiscal stimulus, monetary policy easing, I'm expecting those small firms to really have a nice rally next year, maybe 25%.
All right, I like that year-end price target call, by the way, on 7,000. You're not a lot. That was the original price target that a lot of firms on Wall Street had this time last year, but 'tis the season to revisit a lot of those end-of-year price targets. And we got to leave things there. I could talk with you all day. Jose Torres, senior economist at Interactive Brokers. Thank you for kicking us off as always.
My pleasure.
Josh, going to grab your mic. You and I are going to head for a walk. Pardon me, folks. We're going to squeeze right through. Excuse me. I got Taking Stock broadcast coming through. Hey, Chris, how you doing? All right, we're going to bring you earnings updates for a name that reported earlier today. That is Campbell Soup, reporting a beat on top and bottom line, but the stock is really falling in the session today, largely because of softer than expected demand overall, and tariff pricing pressures on the stock has really put downward pressure. It has hit what's known as a technical death cross last December. That's when the 50-day moving average slides underneath the 200-day moving average. It's a very bearish signal for a stock. Campbell's has not been able to reverse that over the last year. Campbell's Soup is down 30% year to date. Jeff, before we toss the break, we'll take a look at one NYSE notable company. That is Oracle. Shares up about 0.5% or so, now up 6 consecutive days ahead of tomorrow's earnings at the close. The street is expecting revenue of $16.1 billion and earnings per share of $1.64. Oracle shares are already up more than 30% from the start of the year. Despite a huge miss on earnings for the last quarter, the stock actually popped huge, up 35%. They report tomorrow after the bell, a big test for the durability of the ongoing AI trade. We now bring you, as we did on yesterday's broadcast, ongoing continued coverage from Abu Dhabi Finance Week. That's where FinTech's very own Patricia Wu sat down with Kaan Terzioglu of Vion to discuss the future of borderless finance. Take a look.
I'm here with Kaan Terzioglu, the CEO of Vion. So, one of the big themes here that I know you're passionate about is borderless finance. And so, in a single sentence, what would you say is Vion's superpower in building this borderless financial future?
Look, we operate in countries where 500 million people are hungry for services. So, the ability to create superpowers out of our customers is what we focus on. And sometimes it is allowing them to access to financial services, sometimes healthcare services, education. And that ability to provide them at a fraction of a cost, these services, I think what makes us super powerful. And our superpower is to make superheroes from our customers.
Yeah, that connectivity is super important, but having this enabling environment, I'm sure, is also very important. And you're headquartered in Dubai. What lessons, or the biggest lesson, can other regions learn from what the UAE is doing?
Look, first of all, I think when I see Abu Dhabi and Dubai, Emirates overall, I think this is the future of responsible capitalism. And every single platform that you have here is really tailored for businesses to be more effective, more productive in terms of talent, in terms of capital access, and in terms of logistics. You know, if somebody gives you so much power, it's impossible to fail. And that's why we decided to move our headquarters here. And I think, you know, that was one of the best decisions we have made.
And as you look toward the future and you scale and grow, what do you think is the biggest potential roadblock? And, you know, how is AI going to help you tackle that?
Look, I think in this today's world, leaders are always expose themselves to two conflicting objectives at the same time. And sometimes, you know, the two targets you may set for yourself can conflict with each other. But the secret is finding a way to achieve both. For example, in the markets we are at, on one side, the number one, you know, problem is eradication of poverty. The number one challenge I have is creating shareholder value. How do you link these two completely opposing objectives?
Yeah,
And
that's
actually, today's technologies and the platforms that we provide is exactly the recipe for that. You know, poverty cannot be eradicated unless you give people access to financial services. This is the way to create prosperity. You know, when that person that, you know, maybe a mother needs that $30 to buy some eggs, flour, sugar, and make cookies and sell, that's the livelihood of that family. Or when a farmer needs a pump, water pump, and uses for himself, maybe rents for the next couple of days to the neighbors, that's the livelihood of that, you know, neighborhood. So it's really important to provide these type of financial services to people. But on the other side, you know, how do you provide the healthcare services that are available today to the rich at a fraction of a cost, at a massive scale to millions of people in Pakistan or Bangladesh and Uzbekistan? AI comes in place there. Actually, utilizing AI and remote connectivity, which are the two things that we are specialized on, we can reach out millions of people in remote locations. And when that kid is sick at night and there's no doctors around, we can be there through our connectivity and through our, you know, remote healthcare services and basically deliver that value at a fraction of a cost. We need to stop thinking about this AGI. I have no understanding of what it is, and hopefully one day it will happen. It's okay. But application of augmented intelligence, not artificial, because I think there is nothing artificial about AI. This is about augmenting capacities, skills, experiences of people, making a doctor a better doctor, making a teacher a better teacher, making a farmer more productive farmer. We can do that. And that's why we focus on developing local language, large language models, but not to create the super intelligence that will solve all the problems in the world, to actually solve the problem of a student to have a private tutor when he cannot afford one, or to allow a doctor, you know, to reach the libraries around the world so that he can be a better doctor. And that's really what drives us, because we know very well that customers return these type of services with their loyalty. You know, out of 500 people in our countries today, 1 out of 3 is our customer. And that makes us extremely proud, because every morning we wake up and we find another person using our financial services or healthcare services or education services. And that goes back to your first question. This is about creating superheroes from regular people.
Great words to end on. Thank you so much, Khan.
Thank you very much, Patricia.
Welcome back to the broadcast. You're watching Taking Stock live from the iconic trading floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Time now to bring you a few headlines you need to know in the worlds of fintech, crypto, and AI for your Fed Eve on this Tuesday on Wall Street. Bitcoin having a strong session, up 2.7%, as Jose and I talked about at the top of the broadcast, reclaiming 94,000 during the day. Ethereum up 6% and Solana up 4.1%. As we are live here on the air. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill say they are closing in on a long-awaited market structure bill for digital assets. We've been anticipating this one for a long time as they race to get a draft out as soon as this week. And in news you could use in the world of artificial intelligence, the Pentagon is now turning to Google's Gemini platform to drive AI capabilities across its 3 million civilian and military employees. Google shares up about 1% or so on the day. We bring you now our continued coverage of Abu Dhabi Finance Week, where Patricia Wu of FinTech TV sat down with Roger Ruhana of Alphia to discuss the future of AI in finance. Take a look.
I'm here with Roger Ruhana, CEO and co-founder of Alphea. Thanks so much for stopping by. So just in a nutshell, tell us what Alphea does for some of our viewers who might not be familiar.
Absolutely, and thanks for having me. We're an AI-first software provider for wealth and trading solutions. Think about us as a one-stop shop for banks, private banks, family offices, investment companies.
So, everyone's obsessed with AI. I'm wondering, do you see any kind of gap between the buzz and the interest and the actual adoption of these tools?
There's a massive gap, and it's really one of those situations where clients are way ahead of institutions. So we just published a survey where we showed that 70% of clients are actually comfortable getting some advice from AI. And today, I can't think of any institution that actually delivers the advice through AI. So the gap is massive. The good news is everyone's working on it.
So what is the first step? How do you close that gap?
It's laying down the foundations. What we are seeing now happen is, on the one side, relationship managers are getting co-pilots, so they're getting smarter, more up to date. And on the other side, we are starting to surface some features that are targeted, that are not yet about advice, but that are about surfacing information better, synthesizing information in a digestible fashion. So we'll get there gradually, but we are starting to see some AI features coming to production.
When you say get there gradually, what kind of timeline are you thinking?
It's a billion-dollar question. I think that from a technology perspective, we're probably, I would say, 18 to 24 months away from having actual trustworthy AI agents that can kind of like comfortably and in a trustworthy manner take over the brunt of the work of an actual human advisor. Whether that actually translates into banks adopting those solutions, I suspect that it'll take a bit more time.
A bit more time. I'm really pressing you here. Are you thinking another year?
No, I mean, I think you're going to start seeing a lot of buzz in the market around. You're going to start seeing videos. You're going to start seeing some segments being potentially served by AI advisors within some guardrails. You could see some stuff happening in 6, 12, 18 months. But I'm thinking at scale where you're truly going to see a revolution, decreases in RMs, increases in penetration. I think that's a 3 to 5 year sort of horizon, if you ask me.
All right, well, thank you so much for those insights.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome back to the broadcast. You're watching Taking Stock. Time for what is always my favorite part of the broadcast, not just speaking with an incredible guest, but a guest who just rang the closing bell. Say hello to John Asbury here. He is the CEO of Atlantic Union Bank. He and his amazing team from AUB were down here at the NYSE to do the honors, and not for the first time. You're a return bell ringer, is that right?
That's right, JD. We've done this before. This is the second time we've had the privilege to close the New York Stock Exchange. The ringing bell ceremony is like nothing else in finance. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, what was the experience like specifically for you and for your team for such an important part of the holiday season especially?
Well, it really is great being here. There's nothing like New York in the holiday season, so that does give it the decorations here on the floor, certainly make it a special time, but it's always a special experience. I had the privilege of doing this before. We have a few on the team that were with us that had not, that were up on the podium, and it's just a very memorable experience.
Yeah, you've got a great legacy brand. You and I were chatting during the commercial break, 1902. How do you still stay innovating, leveraging underlying technology? I'm sure there's original core values to the bank that have never changed, but you always got to stay ahead of the times. What does that look like for you?
That's right, JD. There's no question. The business model works. So this bank has been around. Atlantic Union Bank's roots go back to 1902 when we were started in a very small farm community. We help people, we help businesses, we help communities. In many respects, it's a simple business, but it's changed. Customer expectations have changed. The nature of finance has changed. Technology plays a big role. So we have to continue to innovate. But what does not change are our commitments to our customers, our commitments to our communities. Obviously, we're here to serve our shareholders. And one thing that I do believe is unique about Atlantic Union Bank is it's a very people-focused organization. In the end, no matter the challenge, no matter the issue, no matter the technology, the answer always comes back to one thing, and that's the people. It's all about the people. It's always all about the people.
So in the spirit of serving the people and your constituents, if you will, for your bank, talk to me about a few of the higher profile acquisitions. You've all had a busy 18 months or so.
Well, that is true. It is true that Atlantic Union Bank has been a good combination of organic growth and select acquisition, and we have done 2 acquisitions in recent years. The most recent was closed in April of this year, and that was Maryland-based Sandy Spring Bank, a wonderful institution, very much like us, our friends and neighbors just to the north in the state of Maryland. Their roots go back to 1868, deeply rooted in their Maryland communities, and now we are stronger together. We have a more convenient branch network, we have more capital, we have more capacity, we have more products. We can do more together, and the people have just been wonderful, so we're very excited about that.
Please correct me if I'm wrong. You have a big investor day coming up, I believe?
We have Investor Day tomorrow. Yes,
what's
we
on
do
the
this.
horizon for it?
Well, we do this every 3 years. As I've been saying to the investors, look, no big reveal coming. This is an important time to really tell our story. One thing about Atlantic Union Bank, and I've been here 9 years, we have done exactly what we said we would do. And so we'll bring everyone up to date. We'll talk about the story. We have built the franchise exactly the way we wanted it. You can look for us to really focus in this next chapter of our story on the organic performance of the bank. We built it the way we want it. We are extremely well positioned to serve our customers, deliver for our shareholders, and that's what we intend to do.
John Asbury is the CEO of Atlantic Union Bank, making his return trip here to the New York Stock Exchange, but not the first time being, or I should say, return trip here, but first time on the show.
That's exactly right. Thanks for having me
on.
on.
We'll do it again soon. Thanks a lot for
Thank
being
you,
here.
JD.
It's great to have you. Folks, don't go anywhere. Much more Taking Stock coming up after a quick break, including a preview of Solana Breakpoint 2025.
Welcome to FinTech TV. I'm Remy Blair. Breakpoint is Solana's global flagship event, the annual gathering of Solana's ecosystem, and it is a conference for founders, builders, and institutions shaping the next era of the internet and also internet capital markets. Well, this year's event will be held in Abu Dhabi from December 11th to the 13th, coinciding with Abu Dhabi Finance Week and Formula One. And FinTech TV will be there live from the conference, bringing you live coverage. Well, joining me today to weigh in is Akshay BD, non-CMO for the Solana Foundation. Akshay, great to have you back on. So Solana Breakpoint, what are the themes of the conference this year, and what can attendees actually expect?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Look, we're very excited about Breakpoint. It's in less than 2 weeks from now. And, we have two themes for the conference this year. It's revenue and returns. We've seen sort of like a cycle of these blockchain projects where you saw proof of concepts and applications getting shipped to the mainnet. I think it's now time to raise the bar to showcase and celebrate applications that are generating revenue. And so we're going to be platforming teams that are generating revenue and infrastructure and support teams that are helping teams generate revenue. So that's kind of a core team. That cuts across everything from payments to trading applications to, deep-end projects to anything that has organic demand. Of course, our industry is cyclical, much like the finance industry, and so these things go up and down. But they have found some core product market fit, off of which they're able to generate revenue. So we're excited to platform that entire category of companies and applications at Breakpoint this year. And the other theme is returns. There's investors. It's of a wide variety of categories. Everybody from the individual angel investor to the trader to venture funds to fund of funds, hedge funds, sovereign wealth funds, and so there's like this entire swath of capital allocators who are looking at blockchain ecosystems and trying to figure out how to generate return. And we're going to be platforming some of the best operators across that capital stack to talk to new investors who are looking at this opportunity to generate sort of alpha in the medium to long term, especially those that have now been cleared to invest in this asset class by virtue of regulation and broader sort of institutional acceptance of our overall industry.
Okay, Akshay, it was great talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we look forward to connecting with you and your team on the ground.
All right, let's do it one and all with our remaining few moments here on the broadcast. We'll get you updated with everything you need to know going on Wall Street tomorrow. And this is the big one. This is what we wake up for in the morning. It is Fed Day. 2 o'clock tomorrow, we will get the decision on short-term interest rates from the FOMC. We also get dot plot projections, like we talked about with Jose earlier on in the show, the summary of economic projections. What do voting Fed officials feel will happen next year for wages, inflation, and much more? And of course, at 2:30, the man himself, Jerome Powell, one of his final can't-miss press conferences as Fed chairman, will certainly be moving the markets tomorrow. We also get earnings in the morning from Chewy, and this time tomorrow, the tail of the tape will be heavily defined by earnings from the likes of Oracle, Adobe, Planet Labs, and so much other names as well. That's going to do it for today's broadcast of Taking Stock. Happy Fed Day Eve, one and all, and we will see you tomorrow. Woo!